when we were talking to Quinn yesterday, he mentioned how, on the one hand, this is a great setup for team bonding and whatnot, and on the other hand, how it's a sacrifice for guys who have, new family members, whatever. Just as a guy with young children and who had to spend, weeks away from them already in Tokyo, just what were your thoughts when you found out that you guys are coming to Vegas for just a few days still, but for training camp?
I tried to get out of it originally. But, I mean, no, it is what it is. Obviously, I think since I've been here, we went to Hawaii once, and that was the only time we've left Utah. So, like you said, it's after having the summer I did and et cetera, it just is what it is. Like, I'm not going to not come to training camp. Ideally, I'd love to stay with my family every day if I could, but that's not the reality in the world and the job that I have. So it is nice to be with the guys, obviously some new faces and stuff. So get to have a team dinner last night, be able to eat, sit by whatever we want to do here. So that part of it's nice, and obviously Vegas is, I was going to say there's no distractions, but obviously we're in Vegas, which is a bit more of it's probably a distraction, but just to be with the guys, and it almost forces you to kind of hang out and spend time together. Obviously like the bubble, which is very similar feeling obviously to this. So it is what it is. It's good to be here with the guys, and at the end of the day, it's just nice to get back out there and start again.
I saw you shooting with Rudy Gay. Kind of what's your relationship with him, and what are you kind of excited about what he can bring to this team?
My relationship's about 48 hours deep, so I didn't know him very well, obviously playing against him a lot, and good friends with Paddy Mills, who had a lot of good things to say about him after obviously him coming here. So I mean, I've liked his game. I've liked his the way he plays for a long time. I don't know how many, I think he's played it's like his 16th year or something, 15th year. He's the oldest in the team, which is great for me because I was the oldest in the team. But I think he'll help us. I think the versatility, obviously can play multiple positions, can space the floor. He's a tall, strong. He's a big dude. He's bigger than I kind of anticipated. Obviously, just playing against him. So he can't shoot like me, but he's got a lot of things that'll help us this year.
When you look at the core of this team, you guys have been together for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, first day of training camp, I mean, you guys know a lot of the sets, you know a lot of the actions. What can be presented to you guys that you haven't seen before, and what do you translate to the new guys in terms of trying to bring them along and bring them up to speed?
Yeah. I mean, I think that, like you said, obviously our kind of core group, that main group's been together for a while. It's a lot easier the first day of camp, like it is like with bringing so many guys back than it was 4 or 5 years ago when we had that big turnover of players. So things get incorporated a bit quicker. Obviously on the sidelines we can speak to the other guys to kind of help speed them up as well. I think in terms of our team, I think something that we'll see and we'll constantly see is the switch. That's a red flag. If you get 3 red flags, you get a punishment. Clarkie's got 1 red flag too. Switching defense obviously has been the thing that teams have thought it's worked against us and has at times obviously. I think obviously with the additions we've got, but that'll be a focus. We talked about it a little bit today, just trying to figure things out and get better in that. I think there was games and series or whatever that we did really well in it, and there was obviously games that we didn't. So I think against a lot of other defenses we're pretty good or very good. So that will always be a focus. And then I think for us, like getting out and running, I think we can run with the best of anyone. We can get up and down the floor. We've obviously can space the floor, and with Rudy and Hassan rolling down the rim, it's a pretty good mix of both. So obviously we'll go over a lot in this 3 days or whatever it is here. But I think the thing we always see, as you guys know, is like the switching defense, and for us to figure that out and be really good at it, which I think we can do.
Probably 10 times a year, maybe a reporter asks you about your trash talking.
It's so annoying.
That's what I'm wondering.
I hate it.
Is it annoying when people ask you about that a lot?
I actually genuinely probably hate that question more than anything. It's just like, I mean, it's just a part of the game. Obviously, as you guys know, it happens. Like the quietest guy, I don't know who the quietest guy on our team is. I'm sure they've all trash talked at some point. Like, it's just a part of the game. It is what it is, and yeah. Can you let everyone know not to ask me that question anymore? Thank you. So now she's going to ask that, and you're going to follow it up. When I just said it's my most hated question.
When you hear your teammate Rudy Gay say that you want to bench smash shot that he's heard Tim Hassan Whiteside, what does that mean for you?
Then I hope it never comes up again, and I don't have to talk about it anymore.
Joe, what's it like being I know a few guys talked about like the similarity of like this situation to like the Orlando bubble. Like,
Yeah.
what's it like actually just being in that other room, you know, with like chandeliers and you know, like how does it impact like your preparation?
I honestly didn't even notice them until you said that, so shows my attention to detail. But 17-year-old Joe probably would have kicked the ball up there at some point and broke it, which is good that I'm a bit more mature now. But I mean, you guys saw it. It's obviously a very elite setup with our weight room down this end and training tables, and someone handed me a smoothie, and it's obviously a pretty elite setup. So it's obviously nice if you are going to go somewhere and we're not at the practice facility. It's nice to have everything here and be able to walk like 6 minutes to my room and not kind of have to pass too many people or anything. So obviously in Vegas is the part that's annoying, being away from everything, but when you're going to do it, or if you're going to do it, if you do it at a high level, I think you can make it worthwhile, and obviously they've done that, and we'll make sure it's worthwhile. Yeah, nice.
Zoom, so Andy, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Yeah, Joe, you mentioned kind of the switching defenses, but kind of last year maybe the biggest problem was them attacking you when playing small ball, right? So I'm kind of curious, has that been a focus of day one, of just kind of like, hey, how do we defend against these kind of small ball lineups?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do much of it today. We talked about it. Quinn spoke to us obviously at the start of practice. I don't know where to look. It's really awkward. I'm just going to look at you guys because it will make me feel. We talked about it at the start of practice, but obviously we've got the 3-time defensive. Like, we're not going to not play Rudy. Like, it's Rudy's obviously going to be in the game, majority of the game for 82 and longer. So just figuring out where it is, like who he guards, who we guard, what the matchups are. Again, I think there's times we've done it well, and then there's times that we haven't done it well. So it's obviously something that I have no doubt coaches watched a lot of film on, and throughout this process, obviously this next couple of weeks in pre-season, we'll talk about it more and hopefully get a clear picture. So when we are getting later in the year, we've worked on it, we've done it, and we can go into a playoff series with it.
All right, we have Ben Anderson on Zoom.
Joe, I know we didn't come into the NBA as a 20-year-old, but for a guy like Jared Butler who's coming in, what is maybe like 1 or 2 things that you think would really help going into your first training camp that you do? And then what are a couple of things that you just can't understand about the league until you've been around for a little bit?
I mean, the understanding part, the not understanding, I think, is just the schedule and the travel schedule and games. And I don't know how many college games you play a year, but I doubt it's 8. How many? I don't know, 30, 40 or something?
35.
So he's not, obviously that's something that you can only emulate by actually doing it. So once this year goes on, and I remember my first year, and I think even in my second year, the tiredness and fatigue just from the difference in travel and games and sleep and figuring it out along the way. In terms of kind of helping him and all that, I think the flip side of that is like talking to the older guys, helping him on the court, off the court, whether it be travel or things that can help him in that way, or obviously on the court, things that can help him in the gym, on the court, whatever it is, treatment, pre-practice, post-practice. His body will probably feel a lot better after this week than a few of us older guys, but there's a lot of learning curves in the NBA, and like you said, a lot of them almost just come along the way. You kind of learn through the experience of being in this league.
All right, I think we have time for one more follow-up from Tony and then we're wrap.
So you hate not playing.
Not playing?
Yeah, you hate not playing.
Yeah.
And,
Thanks.
you know, so
I don't know where you're going with this.
the question is, I mean, if the team came to you and said, hey, you know, we want to just kind of, you know, stretch you out, try to keep you fresh for when it really matters in the playoffs, how do you react to that?
Probably with some words that I couldn't say on this, but I mean, throughout my career, like you said, I mean, I hate missing games. That's why I have I guess a sense of pride to be out there and try and help my team. On the flip side of that, I've also been very lucky injury-wise to not have to really miss games. Yeah, the fatigue's a real thing. That's no joke. And with national team and doing all that is something we've talked about very, very early on, obviously right now. But even through training camp, getting in and out of some things just to not be in the whole 2 hours or whatever we practice for. But obviously at the end of the day, I'm gonna trust coach. I'm gonna trust our health performance, whatever team they are, whatever you call them, performance team. As I have my whole career. I remember instances in my 7 years that people have come to me and said, like, you need to sit, and we've had a debate about it, and I haven't sat. But obviously very willing to listen to those conversations. And if they give me the facts of why and why it's necessary, I'm obviously going to listen. I don't have a PhD in that, so I'm not going to try and pretend I know what I'm saying or doing. So if they come to me and it's obviously a discussion and they believe it, then I'll trust in what they say.